Hi everyone and welcome to another book review video. So I went to a little sort of like Fate sort of like local community fair a couple of weeks ago, and they had a little sort of charity mystery book sale going on. So all of the books were sort of like wrapped up, you couldn't see what they were, and they had like little descriptions on them. And I saw this one and it said could be a good read, and I thought, oh, that sounds actually quite interesting. So I picked it up and it turned out to be this book, which is The Thief on the Winged Horse, and it turned out to be actually a surprisingly really interesting read. So this is what the wrapping on the book said. It was a mystery novel, so I didn't know what it was. It just had this description, could be a good read, which was quite interesting for it to have that. And then this is what was inside. I could tell it was a hardback, which is why I was like, oh, that's interesting having a hardback in one of these mystery ones. So yeah. It's a novel about a family that live in a small sort of isolated community in Oxford that make enchanted dolls that allow people to sort of like feel different emotions when they hold these dolls. And it follows two characters, Persephone, who is actually part of the family, but because she's a woman she's not actually allowed to take part in making the dolls and using the enchantments and things. So she's 19 and she works on the shop floor doing sales, and she's really quite bored, and most of the community expect her to not really go very far in life because unfortunately her father is an alcoholic, and this has quite a big impact on how she's viewed in that community. Then the other character that the story follows is Larkin, who is basically this guy that comes out of nowhere. He's studied like art and design and doll making and stuff, and he's come to this little community in the hopes of getting a job, basically claiming that he is like a long lost member of the family. And so he sort of gets a job with them a little bit tentatively, like they don't trust him. He's only allowed to like make the dolls, he's not actually allowed to learn the secrets of magic. And it's all about Persephone and Larkin and their relationship and how they sort of help each other. They both want something and they both need each other's help to sort of get what they're after. And in the background, while all this is happening with those two, one of the antique dolls that is very expensive and unique goes missing, and it's been stolen by somebody. But a lot of people in the community are quite superstitious. They believe that it might have been taken by like the Fae people, and that they have to leave offerings in the hope of getting it back. But the police get involved, and the police believe it's a really human sort of mystery and they're going to try and solve it. And the police don't really believe in all sort of like the superstition and everything, so they have their list of suspects. And it's interesting how the dynamics in the community change when that happens, because suddenly it goes from being this very tight-knit community where everybody's very supportive and suspicious of the outside world to one where they're all suddenly suspicious towards each other. But also they sort of have a bit of animosity towards the community leaders because they're allowing this to happen. They're allowing the police to say, oh, it's one of you that stole it, and it really changes the dynamic. What I liked about this book is, although it does have like a constant presence of magic in the background, it doesn't rely on that magic. It's very much a book that's talking about human relationships and sort of character development and how these people grow and change and things that they've learned through their life and how that informs them in the situation that they've ended up in. The magic very much is family business is secret, so it's not really played on a lot. It's there, everybody knows about it, but it's not, the characters aren't constantly sort of like casting magic spells, and sort of like the sorcerers aren't like sorcerers as we would think from something like, say, high fantasy novels. The magic is simply there as a plot device that adds an element of mystery to everything. It sort of takes what would be in any other circumstances may be quite a mundane story of a family business losing its secrets and being betrayed by the people in its community because they haven't treated them properly, to quite a magical story that has this mystical element to it, because there's all these little stories that the characters tell about magic and things like that, but we as the reader never actually see it apart from the emotion magic, where the characters sort of hold the dolls and they feel different emotions. It's typical of a modern novel in its writing style and the words that are used, and the characters felt quite relevant to me because Persephone is sort of a teenager, young adult, whereas Larkin is a bit older, sort of in his slightly later 20s, because he's finished uni and design school and he's travelled a bit. So you have sort of like these two characters who are both seen as quite young and sort of childish, but they are actually adults and they've had to sort of become adults in different situations. I wouldn't say this is a favourite novel. It was enjoyable. I probably won't read it again, but it was a nice little read and it was quite quick. All the chapters are sort of like very well sort of like condensed into telling you what they need to, and there are time jumps when there's nothing really interesting happening, and I found that to be quite good because I'm not really a big fan of novels where they spend all their time doing nothing and then something happens and then nothing. Most of the chapters were literally something has happened, this is what happens, something's happened, this is what happened, or they were sort of like flashbacks providing information that we needed to know for the story itself. There are other characters that you do get moments of perspective from, and I feel like that was quite nice because you needed that piece of information and that sort of context, but we didn't need to hear from that character constantly all the time, so it was nice to just have that little quick bit of insight which was needed. All of the characters were very human and relatable, which I think was quite good, even though this was magic, you know, even the sorcerers were relatable, because sorcery was just their job, it wasn't like a big thing. Overall, I think if you really like sort of like soft fantasy, something that just has a little bit of sprinkling of magic on top, then you probably really enjoyed this book. Personally, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was nice, the pacing was good. The payoff was actually quite good at the end, like solving of the mystery, although it was a very human mystery in the end, and with everything in this book, it's always human, so that was really good. If you've read this book, then do let me know, and did you like it, or was it not your kind of thing at all? I thought definitely could be a good read. Yep, it did turn out to be a good read, so I'm quite happy with that. So thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments your thoughts. Again, thank you for watching. Bye!